Hey everyone, it's Fyffe-Marshall and you're watching Kaleidoscope Stories.
Hey everyone, it's Helena Morgane, and today on Kaleidoscope Stories, we're going to spend time with Fyffe-Marshall, and she will be talking to us about how she became that amazing filmmaker, screenwriter that she is, and talk about her journey. Okay, so Kelly, who are you? What do you do? Tell us more about you.
Why? That seems like a deep question. Like, who are you?
Yeah. And you can answer it the way you want.
I would say like I'm Fyffe-Marshall is an activator. I activate situations. So I'm also a very inspired person. Like I get inspired from every moment of life. I'm a filmmaker, director, screenwriter. I just love life. And I'm a family person.
What's your sign?
And I'm an Aries. A true Aries.
Okay.
But I'm emotional like my Pisces.
That I can, support. What got you to start like filmmaking?
I've kind of like always been in film. I was a child actor. I grew up in England. I was born and raised in England, and I was a child actor. And I've always kind of been in the industry. My grandfather owned a radio station when I was younger, and it was in the house. We had turntables and a radio station. Like my family was on the radio, and so like all of the grandkids are all in media. They're either like radio DJs, directors, actors, and documentary filmmakers. And so I just grew up that way and didn't really realize. I was one of those people that like, when you're in high school and you don't know what you want to do, I've never been through that.
No.
I've like always known. And when people are like, I don't know what to do, I was like, I don't know what not, like I just can't do anything else. I never really thought I was a creative person.
No?
No. And then like, I don't know, I just was never like, I could never draw. It was never like, I wasn't creative. I was just like an entrepreneur. Like I was very business minded and I was very about getting things done and making things happen. And so it wasn't until like I kind of realized that like this is what I want to do, and I realized that the films that I wanted to direct weren't being written, that I decided to start writing. But I never, like when I was younger, never saw myself as a creative person.
So you're thinking creative as in artistry?
Yeah.
Okay. Because
I never saw myself as an artist, but I was a creative, yeah. So I just felt like I would make music videos, but I don't know, I just never, there was never any art. It never felt like it was art to me until like I got to a point where I like sat down and was like, okay, what's my goal?
Yeah.
Like, what is it that I want to get out of this? And so, yeah. And then after that, I was like, okay, I'm making a lot of films and they're super like entertainment based, but like, how does that help my community? And then I was like, okay, I want to start making things that are impactful and only help my community. And so I sat down and was thinking about it, and then I was like, okay, I'll start writing. And then I started writing things, and I wrote like my first film short after that was called Reason Enough. And then I filmed Haven. And now I just can't turn back.
No.
Now when people are like, oh, you want to make a film? And I'm like, what's the message? There's no message. Can't make it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It has to be some, even if it's like there has to be a message there.
There has to be. I mean, it's like kind of a sense of purpose. So where has Haven taken you so far?
That's what we call
name dropping.
We actually call Haven the little short that could.
Oh.
Because it's like,
it is.
We never imagined ever. So it premiered at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, and then it had its European premiere in Cannes, France.
It did? I didn't know that.
There's a university in Florida that is actually teaching a course around it. Like what you can do in 3 minutes in a film, which is just mind-blowing. Haven is like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like I knew the story was powerful. It's really hard to program because of the story matter. And so like there's a lot of festivals that we just don't get into because they just can't program it. Because it's so hard-hitting, they're like, what do I put after? And you kind of specifically have to put like a comedy after, but it can't be like it's very hard to program.
Yeah.
And so when we get into festivals, I always like message the programmers. I'm like, thank you for taking this.
Yeah.
It's also a very political statement to put Haven in your festivals, and so I'm always very thankful. But I'm just excited for where else it's gonna go because
I feel like it's kind of the beginning, but it's also like it's already, I don't know.
It's been doing so much, and then also the reviews we've been getting. Like I read them, I'm like, what? So people have like written reviews like this is the best film I've ever seen.
Is it because
and I'm like,
you're
what do you mean? My film is the best film? I'm like, I can list all these different films. It's been.
Do you feel like it's because you're still like mentally thinking of when you wrote it, like back then, and just writing it, not thinking what it would be?
Like the idea of Haven was so like I was with my DP. We're actually on Queen West. And we were sitting there talking, me and Jordan Oram, and we were talking, and he was like, yo, we need to like just keep shooting. Like this is a time where it was kind of slow in the city and we're in India and we're like, okay. And he's like, we need to just think of creative things, like just write some stuff and let's just, he's like, we should be able to film we were saying like every month we're gonna make a short. And so he was like, oh, we should do something where it's like 2 people in one room and it should be super powerful. And so I was like, I was so inspired after the conversation.
So basically that day, like you
manifested the whole thing.
Nuts.
Yeah. And then I went home and at like 4 a.m. I was just writing and I was like, what's a dope, like 2 people in one room. And I was like, Black women rarely see, or women of color rarely see like them getting their hair done. And it's something that we do all of the time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's cool, but what would happen there? What conversation would happen there? And then I wrote Haven at 4 a.m., which is my time to shine. I'm an Aries. I was born on the 4th of the 4th, so like 4 is my thing.
Wow.
And then so I said it to my cousin, and I was like, hey, what do you think about this? Like it was 2 pages long. And I sent it to her, and she started crying, and I was like, oh, okay, great. So it's good. And she's like, yeah, it's amazing. And then I sent it to my producer, Tamar Bird, and she was like, don't change anything. Like this is it. And I was like, great, let's do it. So because like Haven, there's 2 characters, Tika and Davina. I didn't know Tika before we shot. She's just on my social media, and she's very like open and speaks unapologetically about like mental health, being plus size, being a Black woman, being queer. I just resonate. Like I just really dig that. And so I reached out to her and I DM'd her, and I've been following her for years. And I was like, hey, like I'm doing this film. I know you've acted once before. It's the same role, like it's a mother role, but I really want you to do this. And she messaged me back, she's like, super busy. Like her music career was just taking off. And she's like, I'm super, super busy. But send me the script. And so I talked to Tamar, and Tamar emailed her the script. And then she emailed me back and she was like, do not film it without me. And I was like, great. So now we have a mom. But finding a daughter was hard because of the content of it. I'd send the email to a lot of moms and they were like, no, I don't want my kids doing this.
Because of the words.
Yeah. They're like, I don't want my kids to even know about this kind of, like to be in that situation. So I had I'd volunteered my services to a Mother's Day like contest. And it was a single mother who had 2 kids. We did like a photo shoot, video shoot. So I was giving back to her. And I was on set and she had like 2 really outgoing children. So I just reached out to her and I was like, I know you'd mentioned she wanted to do acting. I'm doing a short film. And she's like, yeah, she'll do it. And I was like, read the script and then get back to me. And then she read the script and then she's like, I don't know, but she's really mature. So
she'll know how to
deal with it. And so before I went and left to tour with my other film, Reason Enough, I sat down with her for like 5 hours. And I taught her everything there is to know about sexual education. And so I literally was like one of her first sexual education teachers.
That's like
for me, it was like powerful, but also like once I leave this room and I'm done talking to you about this, I don't want to leave you in a place where you don't feel like you're supported. And so I was like, we're best friends now. Like you take my number, I take your number. We gotta stay in touch. Like if you have any kind of questions, I don't want to put this on you and then not be in the country for 2 weeks because we can't go through all of this and I ruin your life for a 3-minute film. And like this film is super powerful and it's gonna help a lot of people, but it can't destroy one person to help all these people. Like this is something you have to hold on for life. And so it's important that like I like set her up with a foundation.
I think I'm even more impressed with like how you chose to bond with her.
Yeah.
Because there are ways that you can still be interactive and everything, but that's like all in.
Yeah.
Like all in, I'm here to protect you and not just like in the let me prepare you for that role, but like let me prepare you for life.
And then like she got it really quickly. She had 1 rehearsal. This is her first time ever acting. Literally like we started filming straight away. I mean, editing straight away. So like we turned the set into like an edit suite, and Jordan started editing straight away, and yeah, and then Haven just it was like it nearly was like a 48-hour film by accident. Like we had our first full cut and audio done in 48 hours.
It's like a thing. I feel like, I don't know if you also do it that way, but like I've just developed a very, like a stronger appreciation for things falling into place, and just like strong yeses, right? Because I listened to your story. You had some resistance, but then there's things that were like really like strong yeses. So there's no way around that. Do you work that way with other projects?
Yeah, I think also like I took so long to create a team that like they all know how I work. Everything's very spiritual, and they'd be like, even my producer, like Tamar, she's so amazing, and so she'd be like, well, what do you feel? And I like that she allows me to feel, because she can, I can think with my heart and she can think with her head, and then we'll meet in the middle. And so she allows me to be that way and to be the person that I am. And I think it's such a good person who, it's so good to have a team where they understand who you are and they allow you to be who you are, and then, but also like help you through the process.
Do you have a fave genre that you want to stick to, like for directing?
Drama.
Or, yeah?
Yeah. I really enjoy human stories. I also enjoy silence in stories. I think I could do documentaries too, but I just haven't, because I'm also very impatient and documentaries take a while. But the silence in stories, like they're just so beautiful, like kind of like Moonlight. Like it was just very quiet and it was very human, and that's what I like, human stories.
It's like poetry, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah. How has 2018 been so far for you?
It's definitely been one of the most interesting years of my life. I claimed January 1st. I don't really do New Year's. I believe that your birthday is like your New Year. So January 1st, I claimed that this was my congratulation season. And so I believe that it's come true. And then like having, like Haven was kind of that was like Haven's start of being introduced to the world. And then I had the incident in California with the racial bias and the police. And that was like a big turning point in my life.
Yeah.
Like I've written films about police brutality and racial bias. I've dealt with it, but not on a big scheme, a big impact like that. And so it kind of fueled my fire. But I wasn't ready for the trauma that was going to come with it. Because in the moment it was just like, yo, let's just get through this. Let's just go home in one piece. Like navigating through that trauma, I wasn't sure what to do with it. And everyone's like, oh, you have to do film. And I was like, let me do me and figure it out. And so I'd written a film called Marathon before that. And I sat down with it and I was like, wow, this means more to me now than it did before. And I don't think I could have done it justice before.
So the execution is going to be different.
Yeah, definitely. And so through that, I also had like a dream about another film called Black Bodies that I'm going to do. And it's going to be the part 2 to Marathon. And just being able to like sit down and really I explain it from a different place now. It comes from a different place, and it comes from my soul as opposed to like my head now. And so now Marathon and Black Bodies is for me, and for me, Denisha and Comey, who went through this, and for all the countless people that continually go through this every day. And then after what happened in Rialto, we had actually gone to a juvenile center and spoken to kids, and they're like, yeah, this happens every day. This is gonna happen on the way home to us. And so I was like, I have to do better for my people. Like, we need to be able to have these conversations. It shook me up in a very weird way that I can't even put into words. But like, it's gonna make my art so much more refined, and so like the stuff that's gonna come out of it is gonna be so beautiful. I'm just excited for.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. I'm also glad you survived. I feel like for you, you have different identities in like one body. What are they, and how do they affect your work?
Being Jamaican is a huge part of who I am, in every way. Like, even though I was born in England and like was in England for so long, being Jamaican is like everything that I am, and I didn't realize it until I moved here.
Yeah.
I would say my spirituality is my biggest identity. Like, I'm a crystal meditate sage girl.
I was like, are you gonna say crystal meth?
Crystal meditate. So yeah, I'm the type of person, like, if we have a meeting and we don't vibe, I can't work with you. I work off of vibes, and so Like there's nothing wrong with you. We're just not we just can't vibe, and I cannot work with a bad vibe. Like even if it's not even a bad vibe, like your vibe doesn't mesh with mine, we can't work. And so I'm not afraid to say no to that, and so that's like my biggest identity.
How do you dodge? How do you say no?
From like, it's hard because you don't want to hurt people's feelings, but also like one thing that like something that I came up with that I feel like is super important is that you have to be selfish when you're standing up for yourself. Like I think we live in a society where we're so like we're told to do things for other people, and I think you actually have to be selfish, and while being selfish you're actually helping other people. Because Haven was for me, it wasn't for anybody else, but it's helping people. And so I think that's super important that you do things that make you happy, because unless you have happiness and spirit in it, it's not going to translate to anything else. Like if you're doing it for other people, you'll never put your love into it, and you're going to be begrudgingly working, and so you need to be able to put love into it.
We're not going to get in depth about that. Is Haven also like something that you had to personally release?
No.
No?
And it's crazy because everyone asked me. I've actually, before Haven came out, I'd actually never known anybody that never knew of someone who'd spoken about being assaulted as a child or molested as a child. I never, and I also, because I'm spiritual, I believe the story just came to me.
Yeah.
And it was a message, like I believe as filmmakers, it's our responsibility to tell stories that aren't told.
Yeah.
It's not my story.
Yeah.
But once we were filming, the day of, we were on set, and Tika came up to me and she's like, "Thank you for telling this story. It happened to me."
It happened to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so that is
family, but
it's my responsibility to tell your story.
Thank you.
And thank you for telling me, because it's important to have those conversations. Yeah.
Yes.
But,
ooh. Look at that, the strength of
I know. But yeah, I just feel like if I'm in a position to be able to tell a story, then I have to. Okay. Who am I to be like, no, it didn't happen to me? Because.
So this was Kaleidoscope Stories. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Kelly, for being a part of it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for like all you do with your projects.
Thank you.
And for sharing even more with us.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.